Hello and welcome to what is effectively episode 1 of Moosen's Mapmaking Theory. Today I wanted to talk about spikes in neutral flag maps and a little bit about space behind the base in capture the flag maps. So neutral flag maps are extremely difficult to make really well. Plasma is a really good neutral flag map. There are a few things that I have issues with it. It is a little bit linear in terms of its play style, but one of the big things that I take issue with is these guys right here, these two spikes on both sides. These spikes down here are really not a problem, but I think what's going to be really important is for us to stop thinking about spikes on neutral flag as spikes and actually start thinking about them as portals. So imagine, red team is progressing the flag this direction. They make their way out here, and after making some pretty good progress, they get taken over by blue. Blue gets a return here, and they take the flag right up to these spikes right here, and they just camp there until someone eventually puts some pressure on them, and then they spike themselves here. Now, again, the reason that I'm saying that we should think of these as portals is because from here to here is an instant transfer. So when you spike from there, you're almost always going to have your regrab set up. I mean, that's why you're buying time there in the first place. A lot of people in today's Tag Pro are eager to get to regrab anyways. Even on neutral flag maps, it's happening. So you're seeing, what is that, like 15 tiles or so of instant advantage over the other team, and by waiting by these spikes until one or two players pressure you, if one person pressures you from the bottom, you can go around to the boost and take it across the top. If one person pressures you from the top, you can go under and use this horizontal boost. There's just a lot of flexibility that it really does in a lot of cases require two people to pressure you, and then you just instantly get an advantage over them. If you're the only person camping back here and you've got two other people waiting by the flag, or even three other people, you can say the rest of your team's up here. They get the flag, they've got two blockers, and if blue team used two people to come chase you, well, now they're down two players. So effectively, you've got two blocks, and 1v1 blocks should almost always be won by the offense. In neutral flag, at least, I would say. And you've got your flag carrier here, so he's got good blocks in front of him. The blue team is at a disadvantage, and that makes neutral flag really difficult. The whole spikes theory. So let's look at some other examples here too. Command center, for example. So this is what the map looks like just normally. But if you imagine all of these spikes out here, even this one down here, as a portal that transfers you all the way up to here, you get a vastly different kind of feel and look to the map. Instead of all those spikes, this is what we're looking at. And this doesn't seem like a map that anyone would really want to play. Again, I can take this spike, instantly transfer about 15 tiles. I can hit this spike here and transfer like almost 20. So the spikes are basically negating the hard effort, the hard work of one team to drive it all the way into enemy territory here. We drive it all the way this way. One person gets a return, and this is a problem with team gates here too. You move it so far up, and then it's just very easy for one team to bail out of that situation. There's no punishment for the defense making misplays. That's a problem with the team gates, but those can kind of be played around. It's really when you start getting spikes all over the place that you can't defend all of them. It's just too easy for an offender to set up a handoff and a regrab, and it's very frustrating for the offense. We'll even look at some other maps here that are good examples of it. Ricochet. All these spikes over here, all these can be considered portals, and those transfer you a fairly significant distance. So if we look at what Ricochet looks like with portals, It's like that. I mean, this is just crazy. Like, the MTC would never put in a map that allows you to portal 20 plus tiles ahead. It's ludicrous. But that's what spikes effectively do. I wonder if I had another one. Okay, so I actually... Cloud I think is actually one of the worst offenders of this, so we'll talk about this for a second. Because on Cloud, if you're on defense back here, and blue team gets the flag and they move it all up. Sorry for that color, that's kind of gross. They get the flag, they move it all into enemy territory here. If red takes over, it negates all of blue's progress. And now when blue is trying to prevent them from spiking over here, then red can easily just go back and kill themselves here. If blue positions himself over here to prevent that, well then red's got a super easy out right to these spikes right here. Cloud, I can't for the life of me understand why it's rated so highly. For this specific reason here, it's just way too easy for the defense to bail out of a bad situation. And it's not fair at all to the offense who did all the work to progress the flag. A lot of really cool jukes happen on your way over. And those effectively can be just useless instantly because of this right here and this right here. It's just way too easy. Defense is not punished at all. And it, honestly, in my opinion, it encourages worse play. So here's what Cloud looks like if we were to use portals instead of spikes. So can you imagine defense being able to bail out into these portals and get all the way to mid? I mean, this is a huge, enormous transfer space. And not only that, but most of the time they might even have to go outside of these gates here if someone else is holding it and trying to keep them contained in there. Well, instead of having to push their way outside in just a 7 tile wide area or so, again, they just get a free out one way or another, and that's something that's really frustrating to play against. So now we'll talk about Bulldog. Bulldog, for the flaws that it has, actually does one thing particularly well, and that is the lack of spikes in this area. In fact, this spike was removed. I don't know why I've still got this version here, but we'll just imagine this for a little bit. Ignore the outline. So there's no spikes here. You didn't see anything. This is the wrong version of Cloud. But anyway, if you get so your red team, that's not a circle. That's also not a circle. Anyways, if you're the red team and you're defending this side over here, and blue has the flag, say that you get return on them there. Now you're red team. Sorry, I'm struggling here. And you can run out this way, you can run back out that way, but the bottom line is that blue team, wherever they position themselves, they can for the most part keep you pretty well contained in this area. And you don't have a spike to just bail out of a bad situation. In fact, I don't remember if this is completely accurate, but I think the spike was initially put into rotation, and then people complained about it, and it got edited very quickly. But this is one of the coolest things about Bulldog. These spikes are really not too problematic because of the close proximity to the flag. Although yes, there is kind of a roundabout way of going to it. Say someone does kill themselves on those spikes there. So let's say I'm red team, I've got the flag, and I pop myself here. Now even if I've got a red regrab here, if I had blue people chasing me, and they're right here, they can just go straight through this gate here. Red still has to go, red has to go around the outside of that gate. So blue is always going to be able to catch up here. This is, and they've even got the bomb if they really needed to take it up that way. But this is a really cool map, and for that specific reason, this base area I think is perhaps one of the best neutral flag faces that Tag Pro's ever seen. For this reason, it doesn't give you the easy out. Even this is extremely difficult to get to suicide on, just because it's a high traffic and high danger area. So I really enjoy the way that Bulldog reduces the impact of the team gates here, as well as not having a spike. Oops, whatever. That's not there. So again, I think Bulldog, the practices that Bulldog uses is really good. Again, spikes are okay on neutral flag, but you want to keep them reasonably close to the flag so that it's not an enormous portal that takes you from one side of the map to the other. Quickly, we'll talk about some neutral flag, or some capture the flags as well, actually. These spikes here, or this one here, can effectively act as a portal as well. Blue grabs the flag here. They just run this way, they buy some time. If they can get a rolling bomb, that's great for them. Then they can take it on, and try and cap with it. If they can't, though, they've got an easy bailout right here. So if you're right here, or actually it's maybe more effective to be right here and spike yourself, and you've got a regrab set up. Now they just go straight to the flag, and that's a pretty quick path from flag to base. Red here, who is chasing this guy, does not have a boost option to get ahead. If it's down here, they do have some boost options to put themselves in a better position. But using this spike here, or even just like if blue just corners themselves right over here, it's going to be pretty difficult for red to get back where they need to be in order to counter. And that's a situation where defense is actually punished too much by a handoff. So let's see now. Another one that I want to talk about was Showdown. This map never made rotation, but this was a map that I either made top maps or was being tested and considered for it. And one of the key turnoffs, at least for me, in testing this map, was the fact that blue can grab this flag and run back here and defuse the bomb, and now their regrab has nothing but daylight ahead of them. It's a very direct path from flag to flag there, and realistically all they have to do is burn this boost, and if this boost is gone and defense got the return right back here and the bomb is gone too, I mean, what options do they have to catch up? At that point, you're relying entirely on your offensive defense, which is not the worst thing in the world, but that becomes really frustrating for defense, and that's not the kind of play style that I personally appreciate in Tag Pro. I like, for myself, if I'm playing defense, I like to almost always feel relevant to what's happening in the game and feel relevant to the result of the game. And if I'm way over here with no tools to get back involved in the play, then I'm really not relevant. This one, brand new map, but one of the things that I really liked about it, this is Chio, is there's really not that option. If red makes a grab here, even if they run to this back corner, even if they burn the boost, and blue gets the return back here, they've still got this boost here to use. Chances are they'll be able to go through here and take that boost. They have some tools to get ahead, and most good teams are not going to send two blue players way back into this corner, especially if there's a regrab set up for red, to try and counter the person who's grabbing and trying to set up a handoff. So the thing about Chio is there are literally 3 tiles between the flag and the very back of the base. That is not something that is insurmountable, especially since there are tools on this map. There's a bomb here, there's a boost here, team boost there, all that stuff. And offensive defense, because of the team tile here and the button, offensive defense does give their teammates a better chance to get themselves more involved. In fact, most of the time, if red makes the grab here, and even if it's a handoff and they get out, boosting this way is ill-advised because it's really difficult to see that gate. I don't know if you actually can see it before you boost. So a lot of time they're going to want to take it just natural momentum straight down and then kind of bounce up and move around a little bit, which gives blue the opportunity to get to the team boost and make a play on them. So Chio's sitting at about 75% right now. And I think that has something to do with it. But anyway, that is just a pretty general overview of what I think about spikes and neutral flag. an area behind the base on capture the flag. I guess it's really more an analysis of handoffs and how I think those are really frustrating and detrimental to the game as a whole. I understand the purpose for regrab, and I'm really all for it. It is the best strategy. But if we want to counter regrab, a lot of people have complained about regrab. So if we want to counter that, then we have to stop making maps that make regrab absurdly powerful. And that, to be completely honest with you, that is something that the MTC looks at. If there's a boost right here, so now this is of course unrealistic, but if there's a boost that's very, very close to the flag, the regrab is going to have an astronomical advantage. So it's just something to keep in mind when you're making maps, and it's something for the rest of the MTC to keep in mind too. And we normally try to do this, but I guess that about sums it up. If you have any questions for me, feel free to ask. I am going to put this kind of in written form too, so you can choose to read or watch the video, but I hope the visual aid makes things a little bit easier to understand. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye.